God, that was a hell of a year. Alderman Hughes, Mayor Winslow, Aisha, Chief Monroe.
All murdered by that asshole who's been sitting in intensive care on taxpayers' money.
Boy said he wouldn't pull the plug.
Lord knows why.
Hello gamers, today is a video I've hoped and wanted to make for a long time now, and I'm finally getting around to it. That being a video talking about one of the best 360 era games ever made. That being Volition's Saints Row 2, the second installment in what was at that point the second best crime game series, sitting comfortably behind GTA, and for some people, maybe even me, a little bit ahead of GTA at the time. Saints Row 2 knew what it was, moving away from the more serious aspects of Saints Row 1, with new activities that include spraying Fessies on buildings, but still being able to reach its hand into the more serious topics, whilst doing so not giving you major whiplash by doing so. So let's start this video the same way I started off the Saints Row 1 one, which you should go watch if you haven't. But what is my connection to the game? So a brief recap, but Saints Row was the third ever game I owned for my 360. Well, third and first, as it was a bundle of games that I got, but I never got around to playing Saints Row 1 until I saw the trailer for Saints Row 2. And then I played the whole game in like 3 weeks, which was pretty quick for me back then. And after how much I enjoyed Saints Row 1, you know, when the game was released, I was at EB Games with my parents begging for them to get me Saints Row 2. And not knowing anything about games, they got me the game. And much like Saints Row 1, I was hooked. I would play this game all the time, and surprisingly, to me at least, I think I even completed this game as a kid. Which is shocking because I can't think of a single game I completed before GTA 5. But I remembered the ending of this game, so I must have completed it at some point. That, or I saw a Let's Play of it on YouTube. Who could really say? But god damn, I did love Saints Row 2. But just because I like the game doesn't mean everybody does. So what did the critics say about the game? Well, at least after a quick Google search, the game did pretty well. Lots of reviews giving the game high praise, with some comments about the game's lack of polish, which I personally think is a part of the game's charm. But there's probably some denial in that comment as well. Now, one negative view I really want to mention is that of Entertainment Weekly's. Now, you may ask, why their review? Well, I asked ChatGPT for negative and mainstream reviews of the game, and this is all it could find. But I'm sure that there were more. But anyways, they labelled the game as the worst game of 2008, which is just wrong. I refuse to accept that. And then they went on to call the game racist, misogynistic, crude, cynical, humorless, and stupid. And I mean, okay, some of those, in all fairness, are true. I mean, the game is not humorless, it has crude humour, which I get everyone's not a fan of. Hell, I'm not even the biggest fan of crude humour anymore, but it's still humour, and I accept that. And I also don't quite understand what cynical would mean in the terms of you're saying the game is cynical. Like, is it cynical on gang society? I don't get how that works, but maybe I am just stupid. But it's not me that could be stupid, it's the person who wrote the article that's stupid, because they called Saints Row 2 stupid. But I mean, racist and misogynistic, yeah, probably. But I mean, it's a gang simulator. But this same article also put Force Unleashed as the second worst. And I think they rated the best game of 2008, Wii Fit. Which, I mean, I kind of get it being one of the highest selling games of all time, but that's just because it was bundled with the Wii. But also, just on that note, 2008 was a banger year for games. Someone should look more into that. But that's enough about reviews. I think it's time we dive into the great open world of Stillwater to see how the Saints are looking after losing one of their main members in a boat explosion. So the game opens where the last game left off, at least from the point of view of the player, as the game opens with two prison guards talking about current events within Stillwater, while on their way to see the player, who I will now be referring to as the boss. As the player slash boss awakens from their coma, brought on by the yacht explosion, as the nurse removes your bandages to reveal the game's amazing character customizer, which this is where I feel Saints Row really started to come into its own with its creator boss, creator character system. Now, Saints Row 1 was good, but you couldn't be a female. But I spent hours of time playing around in the Saints Row 2 creator boss, coming up with some wacky creations. But this time around, I decided to make my character as close to my character from Saints Row 1 as I could. So a bald old man with a beard. After coming to, the person in the bed next to us starts talking. His name is Carlos, a brother of an older member of the Saints Row gang. Carlos is also gifted with the hard job of informing the boss of what remains of the 3rd Street Saints.
Hey, is it really you?
Do I know you?
My brother was in the Saints and he told me all about you. Listen, we gotta get you out of here.
Well, I'm sure if we ask nicely.
I know a way out.
Yeah? Then why are you still here?
I heard you were in here and I wanted to bust you out. Getting out of here's a two-man job and no one else will give it a try.
You really expect me to trust some guy I don't even know?
Come on, I just got myself shanked so I could get a chance to talk to you. Doesn't that show I'm loyal?
It shows that you're dumb enough to let yourself get stabbed.
I'm trying to help you.
You know what I got the last time I trusted someone? Blown the fuck up.
You need me.
The hell I do, I got the Saints.
Sure you do.
What's that supposed to mean?
How long do you think you've been out?
Oh, I don't know, mate. 2 to 3 weeks.
Look, I know you think you're a badass, but do you even know where you're at? Without me, you'll be wandering around the prison for hours. Even if you manage to hide from the guards that long, and if you actually figure out how to make it outside these walls, you're just gonna find out that you're sitting on a goddamn island. And I'm pretty sure you can't outswim the Coast Guard.
You got a boat stashed here?
No, but I know where we're gonna steal one.
All right, let's get out of here.
That being practically nothing, meaning that the boss would need to basically start from scratch reforming the Saints, which normally I would say is kind of the same as a game resetting all your stats between installments and forcing you to relearn them. Which, I mean, it kind of is, but at the same time, they're doing it in a way that makes sense. Like, think about it. At the end of the last game, Troy, the gang's second in charge, was revealed as a undercover cop. The player, the gang's main member in terms of contributing to its success in taking over the other gangs, was in a coma. And seemingly Julius, the gang's leader, had something to do with putting the player in a coma. So yeah, the Saints not being around makes sense, and of course counting the Saints had only just wiped out all the other gangs in the city, that left a power vacuum which people were more than happy to fill. But that's for later, as Carlos has a plan to escape and was just waiting for the boss's awakening to enact it. So we get right to it, fighting our way out of the prison and down to the docks to get a boat and escape. And luckily, even though the boss had just woken up from a 5-year coma, this hasn't affected his ability to run around and kill people. After escaping on a boat, the boss sees what has become of his Saints Row, of Mission Row, and of the 3rd Street Saints, with the town towering with skyscrapers where the slums of the row used to be. A lot has changed in 5 years. Can the boss even return the Saints to their former glory? Who knows, he sure as hell doesn't, so he gets some new clothes and goes to a local bar to get a drink and come up with a game plan. But whilst drinking, the news shows that Johnny Gat is having a court hearing today about being put to death, or receiving the death penalty for, well, in my script I just list all crimes that Johnny Gat committed, but that will take us a very long time, so I just gotta say, he's Johnny Gat. Have you seen the first game? He did a lot of stuff.
Mr. Gat, You've been convicted of over 300 murders. Do you really expect this appeal to work?
I figure with the statute of limitations, it really should be closer to 250.
Anyways, after bashing up some punks at the bar, the boss heads off to the courthouse, freeing Gat.
There's no statute of limitations for murder.
Why the fuck not?
Watch yourself, Mr. Gat.
Or what? You'll hold me in contempt of court? You're already planning on giving me the chair. You think I'd give a shit about you not liking me? Fuck off.
I'm curious if you can keep your cavalier attitude when 2,000 volts are running through your body.
Oh yeah? And I'm curious if you can keep acting like a douchebag when I shove that gavel up your ass.
My client would like that stricken from the record.
What's that?
Drop it.
Anyone hit and need a lawyer?
Shit. About time your burnt ass woke up.
You okay, Johnny?
Yeah, aside from almost getting sent to the chair, I'm fucking great. Hey, you look different. You do something with your hair?
You ready to get out of here?
As they catch up whilst fighting waves upon waves of police officers, until they finally go to Forgive and Forget, which is a great little topic adjuster to talk about the shops and businesses you get to visit whilst exploring Stillwater. Forgive and Forget is a sort of drive-through church confessional, where you can confess your sins and they can be forgiven, and the police must also answer to this higher power, as driving through Forgive and Forget will remove all wanted levels, of course for a small fee. The Lord's work does not come for free. There is then the game's large selection of clothing stores, being the first game to my knowledge to have different styles of clothes in its own store. For example, there is Branded, which is sort of your casual wear. There is Impressions for formal wear, business casual sort of looks. Then there's Let's Pretend for your more goofy sort of Halloween-esque outfits. And a couple of other stores dotted around Stillwater, including a miner store where you buy mining outfits. And of course, an adult store for all your revealing clothing needs. And then of course there is also the famous Friendly Fire. It's just a gun store with a funny name. That's it. They also, however, do sell the occasional clothing item. Then there is the ever controversial Rim Jobs, a name so vulgar that it had to be changed for the reboot, to Jim Robs, which I guess is still a little funny. Like, Jim's prices are so high that he's robbing you. But that's just talking shit about a national hero from the land down under. You do not take Jim's name in vain. But that's off topic. It's a car repair and mod shop. You can repair and mod your car there. There are some other shops worth a quick mention. Most of them just have funny names. There's Imagine as Design, a plastic surgeon office. Which, to be honest, Imagine as Design is probably just a pretty good name for a real plastic surgeon in my opinion. But then there is everyone's favourite and highly rated tattoo parlour, Rusty's Needles. And the barber shop Razor's Edge, which I hope is just a reference to Scott Hall, because that would be cool. And I guess it is possible, counting that we would make the character of Killbane and would also have a member of the Saints voiced by Hulk Hogan. After stopping in at Forgive and Forget, it's time to take Johnny home, arriving at Aisha's house, when we get a little glimpse into the domestic lives of Johnny Gat and the dead singer Aisha, until Aisha sees the boss on the couch as they greet each other, and Johnny and the boss start talking about bringing the Saints back.
Johnny, I don't care if you just broke out of jail. You do not mess with my furniture. Oh my God, it's you.
Surprised, Aisha?
What, that you're here or that you're talking?
Pick one.
We all thought you were dead.
I almost was.
Well, for someone who was blown to hell, you look great. Did you do something with your hair?
Yeah, I've been getting that a lot.
Yo, can we get back to business?
What's the rush?
I've been cooped up on death row and that bitch has been laid out in a coma.
We definitely need to remind motherfuckers who we are.
And that can't wait until after dinner?
No.
You two haven't changed at all.
Well, you know, there's a saying about dogs and blowing shit up.
However, first the boss needs to go out and earn some respect, a staple of the Saints Row series, to have enough respect to start the next mission. And how would you gain respect? Well, that's by doing side activities, of course, and there are a lot of them, but I talked about most of them in my video on Saints Row 1, so I'm just going to talk about the new activities to Saints Row 2 here. There is Fuzz, a mini-game where you are a part of a fake police show going around committing a bunch of crimes dressed up as a police officer, so that the following camera crew can get some good footage, the juicy scoops of the true way of the police force. I unfortunately didn't play this activity too much, as they changed the amount of grinding you need to do for respect, and you just needed to do a lot less side activities in Saints Row 2, which I was a massive fan of, because I swear I did almost all of them to complete one. Anyways, crowd control, however, is the one I spent the most time playing. Mainly as I found it very fun, and it rewarded a large amount of XP, and it was easy. The activity is pretty much what it's named. You have to control a crowd as some VIP celebrity walks down the red carpet, getting points as you throw creeps and pervs away from the celebs. Gain extra points for creative throws, if that's onto a trampoline, sending them into low Earth orbit, or smashing their head into a massive Chinese gong. However, even though I played crowd control the most, Trailblazer is the side activity that I got my most experience on to play through the main story. It's basically the same as racing from the first game, but you are racing a timer, and this time you are on a quad bike that also just so happens to be on fire and set off explosions as you drive past checkpoints. And seeing the explosions makes my small brain happy. And the final new side activity that I remember, at least, there might be one I've missed out on, but I'm just going to say there's not. That is Septic Avenger, which is a very simple and crude activity of driving around the city using a septic truck to spray feces all over buildings to drive down the property value of the neighborhood. Which is pretty cool, I guess, but now that we have collected enough respect, we can return to the main story as the boss returns to Gat's house to figure out the next move for the Saints.
We get our crew together. Once we got that, we can work on how we're taking back our city.
Sounds good.
And where were you planning on having this little meeting? No.
Well, this place is pretty spacious.
No.
The color's very soothing.
No.
Come on, Ish.
This ain't no fucking gang clubhouse.
Change of plans.
We gotta find a new place.
Yeah, you got it.
Which is a very simple one. The gang needs a new hideout, as Aisha isn't necessarily the most happy with them running the 3rd Street Saints out of her house. And the church has been taken over by the Ultor company. A company that when the boss was only a player was a clothing company, but after the death of Alderman Hughes, they used the money they had to buy power within the city, taking over all of Mission Row, turning it into the skyscrapery mess that it is today. So Gat suggests an abandoned building that has a whole underground segment, as the city had a large earthquake a couple years back, sinking half of the city, and they just sort of built over the top of it, making a perfect hideout. After, of course, Gat and the boss evict the homeless who are calling the underground their home. And having a base of operations, the gang now needs lieutenants, so the boss is sent off to recruit some. Starting with Carlos.
I'd love to help the Saints, but first you need to do me a favor. A deadbeat friend of mine owes me money. Can you help me repossess his car?
The kid who broke him out of prison. Then there is Shondi, a weed head who has slept with basically everyone in Stillwater.
Hey, I'm Shondi. What do you say you show me what you can do in that thing?
And also future cities, it would seem, using her network of men for information. And then there is Pierce.
So, I'm Pierce.
If I'm gonna run with you, I wanna see you fuck some Ronin up.
Half of the house basically talks about it.
I don't remember why they chose him, but he kind of grows on you over time, I think. Over a very, very, very long time, however. But now that we have a gang again, it's time to do what we did in Saints Row 1, and that is take on all the other gangs in the city that have popped up in the Saints' departure. These gangs being the Sons of Samedi, a Haitian gang conquering the Caribbean drug world within the city. Then there is the Ronin, a Japanese gang that controls gambling and prostitution, basically this game's version of the Yakuza. And then there is the final gang, the Brotherhood. Now no, they're not a bunch of hooded people with hidden blades. They basically just take what they want when they want it. And much like the gangs in the first game, you can take on whatever gang you want in any order at any time, taking on all the gangs at once or completely wiping out one gang before moving on to the next one. Which is what I did, making it easier to find clips for this video and also helping with gang attacks, which I will talk about soon. So let's get started with the...
Samedi, you got the Sons of Samedi.
It's gotta be them.
Fuck, you say?
It's cool. I got this.
Which starts with Samedi, who is in charge of the Saints' takedown of the Sons, introducing us to the Sons of Samedi's wonder drug, Lower Dust, sending the boss to steal a large amount of it, some to of course keep for their own pleasure, but also some to reverse engineer to make their own. So the boss goes to a local university, which is also a new addition to the map from Saints Row 1. As the boss raids a bunch of frat houses taking their drugs for the Saints. When after doing so we get introduced to the leader of the Sons of Samedi during a cutscene. There is the leader of the gang, who is referred to only as the General, who travels around in his armoured green limousine all day. Normally with his right hand man, Mr. Sunshine, as they are currently talking to Veteran Child, a local DJ and pusher for the Sons of Samedi, as they are questioning him about the fact that the dealers seem to be a little bit light on money for this week, wondering the reason why. But for now that's not a problem. The problem is that the gang is struggling to figure out the formula for Lower. So Samedi has a genius idea of contacting her old cellmate from prison to help, who was a master drug cook chemist person. The only problem being is that, well, she's still in prison. So after only just recently escaping from prison himself, the boss is sent right back to the island to launch a full-on attack on the base to free the housewife slash drug cook, and after some quality time with her husband.
Don't worry, sweetie. When it comes to drugs or snickerdoodles, I'm the best.
Ain't that the truth, baby?
Toby!
Thanks for bringing my pumpkin muffin back. You need anything? You let me know.
Oh, I already talked to Laura about that.
In that case, you mind giving me and the wife some quality time? I'd like to have a belated conjugal before the PTA meeting.
Not at all.
She breaks down the Lower Dust and goes to the clubhouse to let them know the chemical formula of the drugs, when Samedi suddenly remembers that she knows the location of all the Sons of Samedi grow sites. So the drug cook's husband, Toby, who also happens to have a pilot's license...
You don't have to.
What do you mean?
Tobias is outside in the car. He's got a pilot's license. Why don't you just have him fly you over the farm?
You gotta be kidding me.
Does it look like I'm joking?
Takes the boss over their farms in a helicopter to rain death upon the weed growers, weakening the Sun's hold on the drug world. The General and Mr. Sunshine confront Veteran Child, who as it turns out was one of the many guys that Samedi has slept with, and told her about the farms whilst doing so. The General tells Veteran Child to remove the problem as he has caused it.
That shit out, you're freaking me out. How did they find out about the farm?
Why don't you tell me?
I don't know what...
Stop lying.
Dude, I said I don't...
And he said Stop lying.
I'm telling you the truth, man. I don't know how they found out.
Then you are not very useful, are you?
I don't know how they found out, but I got some ideas.
Enlighten me.
I used to dig this bitch Shondi, and there's a chance, a small fucking chance, that I might have gotten stoned and told her about the farm.
Where is this Shondi?
Word is she rolls with the Saints now.
Let him go.
Which is done by him breaking into the Saints clubhouse and kidnapping Shondi. Luckily, the boss showing up to see her getting taken at the last second, following Veteran Child to a club that he is hiding out at. Which quickly, a good point to jump in here and say, why the hell were there no Saints at our clubhouse? How was Veteran Child able to walk from street level all the way down into the ruins of the underground without a single Saint stopping him? Because I don't think he has the power to kill a Saint. Anyways, the boss arrives at the club they're hiding out, and when after shooting Veteran Child in the head, the boss takes Shondi home when a green limousine drives past the club as they leave. I wonder who else we know drives a green limousine. Not important now anyways, as the boss is going off to see Shondi again as she is partying it up at a frat house, as another one of her exes has information on some Samedi drug labs. So off the boss goes, blowing up drug lab after drug lab, to the point where the general is really starting to worry about the cash flow of his businesses, leaving a lot riding on their next shipment's success. To the point where the general really wants to deal with their Saints problem.
Between the farm and this fire, we cannot afford to have anything go wrong with our next shipment.
Don't worry, General. The shipment will be safe.
These Saints are proving themselves to be quite the nuisance.
Then perhaps it's time we speak to their leader.
So, they kidnap the boss and drug him while sending an all-out attack on the Saints clubhouse. Luckily, even though the boss is super high, he is still able to defend off all of the Samedi that they can send at him. And then Shondi gets word from her network of boy toys that the Samedi are dropping shipments from helicopters on their territory. So the boss and Pierce go out to take them out with some questionable singing by Pierce. That's basically his whole character trait in this game, is he sings badly to music over the radio that you would not expect a gangster to be singing to. Anyways, them taking out the helicopters with the shipments, well, this angers the general very much, forcing him to cut off Mr. Sunshine's ear, which he understands that this is the price to pay for his failure. In order to enact a form of revenge, Sunshine tells the now drugless addicts that he was supplying drugs with that the Saints have their drugs, and whatever they take back from the Saints they can keep for free. This of course means waves upon waves of druggies are sent down upon the Saints. But of course a bunch of addicts are not able to stop the boss as they move the lower dust to a more secure location. But using a box of the dust to get a druggie to rat on the location of the Mr. Sunshine, sending the boss to a meat packing plant to kill the voodoo priest magic man himself, Mr. Sunshine. However, it does take a lot of attempts to kill him for good, needing to decapitate him to finally stop him from getting back up.
This fight is far from over. You think that will stop me?
For fuck's sake, die, Samedi!
But now it's time to move on to what I thought were the two most annoying missions in the game. The first one sounds simple enough, kind of. It's break into the police station in order to hack traffic cameras in order to find the General's famous green limousine. This, however, I had lots of bugs during this mission. It bugging out on me more than a couple times, and also it was just a difficult mission to do. But after we got through that, the Saints are able to watch the cameras coming across his limousine and planning their attack, crashing it into a underground shopping centre. Also a new addition to the Saints Row 2 map, but also one they wanted to have in Saints Row 1, but you know, console power of the time not allowing. After chasing the General around in the underground shopping centre, and a absolutely colossal one at that, but we finally find him, and with the use of a couple rocket propelled grenades, well, that's the end of the General, closing the books on the Sons of Samedi.
Is he dead?
You got a light?
That's it, huh?
Seeing as we stole their drugs, cornered the lower dust market, took their territory and killed their leader, I'm pretty sure the Sons of Samedi are fucked.
So, how'd I do?
Well, he's dead and you're not, so I'd say pretty goddamn good.
So you think I could take Gat?
Not in your fucking life.
What about Pierce?
Probably not.
Veteran child?
Since he's dead, I'm pretty sure you'll kick his ass.
You're an asshole.
Leaving only 2 gangs left for the Saints to conquer. But the Sons of Samedi may be gone in the wider sense, but there is a little bit of cleanup in order to completely defeat their presence in Stillwater. Now both of these were in the previous game, so you may have heard of me talk about them again, but that is turf wars and gang strongholds. Turf wars you usually get throughout the main story of each gang. That's where the gang has sent an attack to try to reclaim some of their territory from the Saints. Of course, this can only happen while the gang still exists, and once you completely wipe them out, they can no longer try to reclaim territory, which is why I focus on getting one gang completely done at once. Which, yes, it's nice you get to choose, but it's also nice that you don't have to be going around from Brotherhood territory all the way up to Ronin territory in order to defend one territory, then to drive all the way back. All a turf war is that you show up in the area that they're trying to take back in question, you find lieutenants scattered around the zone and shoot them in the head, and defeating them and sending the Samedi back to where they came from. And then gang strongholds were also in the previous game, but in this game they're a bit more varied in what you're actually doing. So you could be going into a drug den, a brothel, or just a local business owned by the gang in question. And then it's much like the turf warfare. You kill everyone in the stronghold, therefore relinquishing the stronghold from that gang's possession into the ownership of the Saints. Removing certain territories from the map by completing the strongholds. And obviously you have to do that with every gang. I'm just throwing that in after the Sons of Samedi because that makes sense for me. But anyways, now it's time to move on to the next gang.
Pierce, you're on the Ronin. I want to know who's calling the shots and what businesses they're running. Done.
Pierce has set up a grand plan on how to first attack the Ronin, going after their money by smartly robbing their casino. However, whilst telling his masterful plan to Gat and the boss, Gat has a better idea, which they end up going with. That being the Johnny Gat special of rock up with guns, kill anyone in your way, and leave.
Yo, hold up, man. I mean, I love the dream house you built here and everything. But what if we just start here, walk into the casino, and just shoot all the motherfuckers that are between us and the money?
Well, you know...
It will be a lot faster.
And a lot more fun.
Yeah, but...
Fuck it, let's go. Good call, Johnny.
And this plan goes off pretty well as they leave with a truckload of cash. Then, just like with the Sons of Samedi, we are introduced to the Ronin's leadership. I'm just going to say it here, I'm not going to attempt to try to pronounce these names. I don't want to screw them up. But we have the son of the Ronin leader, the leader still being in Japan at this point, and his lieutenant, who I will refer to as Muscles, as he has big muscles. But after seeing a bit of a divide between the son's way of running things and the more traditional ways of the father, I wonder, which way is better? Well, not much time to find out about it, as the Saints are laundering the money after watching a bit of the news to see their handiwork on display, which is where we also, as Saints Row fans, get thrown a little bone, as this is our first time, at least in the main story, seeing Troy and getting to hear about the all-powerful Ultor.
Excuse me?
Shut up, we're on.
Casino heist has left the police baffled. Standing next to me is Chief of Police Troy Bradshaw. Chief, how's the investigation going?
This is an investigation, Miss Valderrama. I can't get into details.
Can you say anything about the 3rd Street Saints' involvement?
I don't know what you're talking about.
This leaked security footage shows the leader of the Saints, recent fugitive and Saint Lieutenant Johnny Gat, as well as an unknown accomplice assaulting the casino. Obviously, the 3rd Street Saints are back after a long hiatus.
All right!
Woo!
Oh, God.
Unknown accomplice my ass!
Miss Valder...
Also, reports claim that Ultor is pressing the police department for a quicker response.
One of Ultor's investments was robbed. Of course they want their money back.
All right, we've had our 15 minutes. Let's clean this money.
But anyways, the Saints are able to beat the Roman and launder their money from the robbery. And it looks like the father is going to come clean up the businesses, with the son using his fleeting time as this chapter's leader of the Ronin to send an all-out attack on the Saints, sending an advance team, which Johnny finds one of them and takes him to Aisha's house to get some information out of him before killing him. Obviously, the killing part made a bit of a mess, so Aisha makes him clean up the mess as the boss is sent out to kill any more of the Ronin riding around in Saints territory. After both Johnny and the boss clean up their messes, they go out for a drink to celebrate the killing of more Ronin. As they return to Aisha's house, it turns out that the Ronin's Muscles, he's made himself at home, setting a bit of a trap for good old Johnny to return.
Aisha doesn't care that I'm stopping by, does she?
Fuck no. Aisha doesn't go out much. She loves company.
You're gonna kill me, aren't you?
If you're calm, help us find the money, and do what I say. I give you my word you will live.
Ish, you home?
As Aisha screams to warn him as he enters the door, Muscles slashes Aisha up with his sword, sending Johnny off the proverbial deep end as he kills as many Ronin as he can.
Get out of the way!
before getting stabbed by Muscles himself, needing the help of the boss and some other saints to get to hospital ASAP. After getting Gat checked in, Pierce is looking into the arrival of the father, finding out that all the first class seats on an aeroplane from Japan to Stillwater has been booked by one person, by the Ronin. So the boss goes to the airport to confront him, however Muscles spots him entering the airport, going onto the tarmac to save him before the saints even get close. After that, we get a cutscene seeing a deeper divide forming between the son, the father, and Muscles. A divide that seems to be widening by the second as the son calls the boss, telling him where to find Muscles.
Sup?
How badly do you want the man who hurt Johnny Gat?
Who is this?
Junichi will be at Kanto tonight. This is our chance for revenge.
Our chance? Who the fuck are you?
Where you going?
I'm taking out the son of a bitch that killed Aisha.
The boss jumping at the chance to avenge Aisha's death and kill the man who stabbed Gat. And after a very interesting sword fight, the boss does just that. This news, however, seems to destroy the father, the son he had always wanted, the son who could carry forward the Ronin name. He now no longer cares for the son that is of his own blood, just hoping that whatever he does he will do far away from him. So in an attempt to regain favour, the son sends some boys to the hospital to take out Gat, which of course does not work out as well, Johnny Gat doesn't die. Maybe, who knows, maybe he will die, maybe they'll kill him, but of course they don't, as the boss just so happened to be visiting him in the hospital at that time, and well, they dispatch the Ronin. However, these public attacks in the hospital and on the streets, well, that's ruining a special relationship that the Ronin had with Ultor. But it's okay, as this relationship was not one that the father was looking to retain, sending Dane Vogel, the CEO of Ultor, right into the Saints' compound.
By the church and offered Dex a job a while back.
You're shitting me.
Who's Dex?
Dex was a man who had higher aspirations than being a thug. You can't blame him for moving on up.
He was a fucking sellout.
You call him a sellout, I call him a millionaire.
What do you want?
I want to help you.
If I need any Ultor Unlimited sunglasses, I'll steal them.
So you're familiar with our products?
Fuck off, Vogel.
Do you want our help or not?
Maybe.
Yes.
No.
Well, this is a well-oiled machine.
What do you got?
We've recently severed our ties with the Ronin.
Oh, you're breaking my heart.
I know where the Yakujis lay their heads. I doubt any of your lieutenants have that information.
I don't know. Shondy's fucked a lot of guys.
Gat's talking sense.
How do we know it's not a trap?
That part's easy. I'll wait for you here. If you don't make it back, one of your boys can take me out.
Yo, why don't we just cut the waiting part?
I think the waiting part is very important.
Gat, you're with me. Pierce, you're babysitting Vogel.
You sure you don't want me to take out this asshole now?
Save the bullet for Akuji.
Him offering the Saints information as a way to get back at the Ronin for renarking on the deal, telling him where the Ronin lay their heads at night, leading to the Saints sending an all-out attack on the massive hotel suite which houses the Ronin leadership. Luckily, the father and son were not there at the time, luckily for them. However, this brings even more shame upon the son's head, leaving him to do some wild things in return, as it's the day of Aisha's funeral, and he shows up with some boys on the motorbikes, threatening Johnny. Gat warns him, not today, not now, a warning the little boy does not understand, leading to what is quite possibly the second most hardest hitting scene in this game. I'll just let it play out, but it ends with the death of the son.
May perpetual light shine on her. May her soul and the souls of all the faithful departed rest in peace.
You two have humiliated my family for the last time!
Leave, little boy.
Look at me when I'm talking to you!
Fuck off, Akuji. I'm not killing anyone at Ishi's funeral. Tonight, tomorrow, you name a time and I will gladly fuck you up. But not now.
How noble. Nobility is sorely overrated. Where are you taking me? Let me go!
Get up. Get up. Get up.
Please, stop.
Not so fun when you're fighting someone who isn't tied to a chair, is it?
I didn't kill her!
You ordered it.
I'm sorry.
Well, that brings her back, doesn't it? You couldn't even let her have a burial, you fucking piece of shit.
No, please. No! Kill me! But don't do this! Kill me, damn it! Don't do this!
Then, while hanging out at the clubhouse, an old friend shows up, Mr. Wong, someone from the first game that you did some hitman jobs for, which was a side activity for that game. I didn't do too much of them, as well if you've seen my previous video, if not, once again, click here. But the hitman activity is one that I personally believe sucked. But anyways, Pierce brings Wong to the compound so they can meet. But of course, Pierce being Pierce, he was followed by the Ronin, who are now launching an all-out attack on the Saints clubhouse. However, this only ends up with most of the Ronin being killed, and the father escaping with an inch of his life left, and almost none of his loyal men. But the Saints know that he is going to make one final move, one last-ditch effort to restore honor to the Ronin, which of course he does, attacking a festival hosted by Mr. Wong at the docks. Luckily, Gat was there protecting him, as the boss knew that he would try something. So Johnny was able to do Johnny things and start killing all the attacking Ronin. Then, of course, he contacts the boss, who then shows up at the party to finish off the last of the Ronin, getting into a final sword fight with the father when he pulls an Indiana Jones, winning the fight. And with that blade and the burning ship, that is the end of the Ronin's control on our sector of the city.
No. I'm gonna cheat.
Finish it.
Put Wong on the phone. Hey Wong, I want you to hear something. Come on, be a good sport. You hear that, Wong? You're welcome. Thanks.
When I escape, the world will not be big enough for you to hide in.
Luckily for me, you're gonna burn to death in a few minutes. Your son never should have fucked with my friends.
Leaving only one more gang until the Saints have restored ownership of their precious steel water.
Carlos!
The Brotherhood, I'm on it.
Alright.
The Brotherhood story starts in a very different way to, I believe, any other gang in Saints Row history, and that is the fact that Carlos has arranged for him and the boss to have a sit down with Miro, the leader of the Brotherhood. And as they are about to start talking, the cops show up attacking them, forcing the boss and Miro to work together to get out of this alive. After escaping the cave they were going to have their original meeting in, Miro takes them to his clubhouse, an abandoned warehouse on the docks, as the boss sees a familiar face, that of Donnie, Lynn's boyfriend kinda, from the first game, working on some Brotherhood trucks. But that will come back to help us very soon. First, Miro and the boss start to have a talk about business. The Brotherhood have a very special shipment coming in and Miro is offering the Saints 20%. And let's just say this low number angers the boss just a little bit. But Miro lets them leave, telling his girlfriend Jessica that they will be dead soon enough anyways.
The Brotherhood is about to come into something big, and I think the Saints are going to want to get in on the ground floor.
So what's the offer?
2080.
I'm assuming I get the 80.
Yeah, sure you do.
You really expect me to take 20 and say thanks?
On your hands and fucking knees.
Is this a joke? I used to own still.
Used to is right. Time's passed you by. Now you're a has-been with some burn scars.
I suggest you shut the fuck up before...
You're kidding me, right?
Hey man, be cool.
You really think that a couple of washed-up bangers like you and Gat have a chance against the Brotherhood?
We'll see. Let's go, Carlos.
Honey, you want me to have someone take care of them?
Nah. They'll be dead soon enough.
As the boss returns to a location where he should have died many moons ago, not on a boat, but where he and Lynn went into the water locked in the trunk of a boot together. Finding Donnie mourning Lynn as the boss takes advantage, kidnapping Donnie, forcing him to rig some Brotherhood trucks to blow up. And then after doing so, returning Donnie to the Brotherhood docks as Miro almost kills Donnie.
Babe, just let it go.
Who the fuck do the Saints think they are turning me down?
Sweetie, it's not a big deal. Just kill him. Hey, Donnie, where have you...
Mero, I'm so sorry!
What did you do, Donnie?
It's the Saints! They...
What did you do, Donnie?
They made me rig up some of our boys' trucks and...
And you did it?
I didn't have a choice.
You had a choice, Donnie. You chose your life over the rest of us.
I had a gun to my head, man. What was I supposed to do?
Have a spine.
I didn't say anything about the shipment.
Well, that makes it all better.
Bro, you should be pissed at that asshole running the Saints, not Donnie.
I didn't ask your opinion, Matt.
Mero, who's gonna fix my car?
Till his girlfriend Jessica shows some heart and convinces Miro to let Donnie be. Because realistically, what's someone like Donnie gonna do to someone like the boss, even if the boss is a 60-year-old balding man? But anyways, the boss meets with Carlos on a train to talk about their next move. Carlos clearly acting like someone who has seen one too many spy movies, and is also very clearly in over his head, not knowing the next move to make as the train passes within sight of a nuclear power plant. The boss gets an idea, which leads the boss to breaking into a second super secure secret island to steal nuclear waste, which he switches out with the tattooing at Miro's favourite tattoo parlour, giving him a royal surprise for his next tattoo session.
Motherfucker.
That's good, because I was beginning to think I looked like an investment banker.
I'm glad you two are having fun, because God forbid we do something about the Saints.
I'm gonna take care of them, babe.
Sure you are.
You think I'm afraid?
No, she doesn't, Mero. Now can you stay cool? I'm almost done.
I think you should stick to tattooing and drop the guitar.
Whatever. The feed dogs fucking rock.
Baby?
However, this seems to piss Miro off more than anything, and this is where I'm starting to think that the boss may be going just a little bit too far / crazy on the Brotherhood, but it's this next mission that pushes him over that edge, to where the plan simply becomes, fuck the Brotherhood. So what happens? Well, the boss gets a call from Jessica, where she lets him know that since he fucked up her man's face, she thought it was only fair that she returns the favour, as the Brotherhood have kidnapped Carlos, and by the time the boss is able to catch up with them, they have been dragging Carlos around the town tied to the back of their truck, leaving most of his skin somewhere on the pavement. And it's now time for maybe one of the most famous Saints Row cutscenes of all time. This one and that one where you jump out of the helicopter to attack the tower to that Kanye West song. People really seem to like that cutscene. But I'm once again just going to let this cutscene play out. Of course, after such an event, the boss needs to reply to the Brotherhood. And luckily, Samedi is hanging out in a random local bank car park playing a game of hacky sack when Jessica shows up. Jessica not realizing who Samedi was. So, the boss rushes over to the bank and takes Jessica hostage, killing waves of cops to get her out of the bank and shove her in the boot of her own car. Then racing across town when Miro is taking part in a monster truck show, setting up the car with Jessica inside to be the last car on Miro's row of cars that he's going to jump in his monster truck. And as he hits the car, the boss appears on the field, throwing Miro the keys, just saying that he should have offered more than 20%, leaving Miro to investigate the trunk of the car.
I'm gonna kill you right here, right now.
No, you're not.
What's this?
Do me a favor. When you check the trunk, just remember you should have offered me something better than 20%.
As he returns to his hideout, the boss is a little upset, mainly because he forgot to question Jessica about the shipment before having her crushed alive. But an idea to find out more information about the shipment is put forward, so the boss goes to question Matt, Miro's tattoo guy / singer and guitarist in a local band. The boss uses the pyrotechnics on stage to destroy Matt's arm, but gain the information that he wanted in the process. But realistically, was the information worth the damage done to a mostly innocent person? Who knows, since that information was shipment coming by boat, that's all he knew. I could have guessed that a shipment comes on a boat most times, but hey, who am I to say?
Fuck with me, Matt. You got a lot of gear on this stage I haven't played with yet.
You gotta believe me. I just tattooed the gang. They don't fill me in on what they're doing.
All that time, you winked at Mero, and you never heard him talk about a shipment with Jessica.
All I heard is that it's coming in by boat. They leave me out of the loop on purpose. They were trying to keep me from getting mixed up in their shit.
Your friends should have tried harder.
Come on, I told you everything I know.
Enjoy your retirement, man. Hey, Shandy. You know anyone that works at the docks?
Not really.
Looks like you get to make some new friends. Mera's got a shipment coming in by boat and I want to get it before he does.
Okay, I'll take care of it.
Anyways, with no more information than that, the boss sends Shandy to do what she does best. Go and make some new friends and find out some information. But Mero is off making some friends of his own, as a large amount of Brotherhood got arrested attacking the Saints in their hood. So Mero turns to Dane Vogel, who uses his connections, aka Troy, to get all of the arrested Brotherhood back out on the street. However, while being transported from prison, the buses carrying them magically get blown up. But of course it wasn't magic, it was the boss sending a message, putting Mero in a bad mood as he returns to Vogel's office to threaten him. But Vogel, being the astute businessman and smart person he is, well, you only get one opportunity to go over on Vogel like that, as he now has guards who are highly armed at his beck and call. As it turns out, Vogel will be taking the shipment for Ultor as payment for the Brotherhood's release. Luckily, Shandy's network of guys finds out where the boat is and off the boss goes, finding that the shipment is a lot of big guns, which is very good as the boss is currently being attacked by wave upon wave of Brotherhood soldiers, Ultor security guards and police officers.
I was listening in on the police scanner, and the Coast Guard is reporting a lot of Brotherhood are coming towards you.
You sure?
Boss, are you there?
Oh, I'm fine, Shandy. Suddenly I'm not so worried about the Brotherhood.
Using the supplies of the shipment to take them all out and gearing the Saints to the point where they have never been so geared up before. And with all this newly found firepower, the boss launches an attack on the Brotherhood home base, coming face to face with a minigun wielding Mero. And after putting enough bullets in him to kill a fully grown whale, Mero runs out of ammo. And the boss and Mero have a bit of a fisticuffs fight, which ends with them plummeting through the warehouse, where as the boss is about to finish Mero's life, Matt saves his life, giving Mero just enough time to run.
The shooting stopped. You think it's over?
Your little buddy screamed like a bitch when we trussed him up. How about you, bitch? You gonna scream?
Mero, get out of here!
However, not for long, as Mero gets the boss to meet him where Jessica was killed, and Mero and what is left of the Brotherhood go face to face with the boss. And even though they have the numbers advantage, well, they will find out that the arms
are just too short to box with God.
the boss ending the Brotherhood in that arena.
Any last words?
Go to hell.
Sorry, didn't catch that.
Now, I do have a lot more to say on the Brotherhood, and especially their impact on the boss and the other gangs. I have more to say on them as well, but there is kind of one more gang we need to take down. Not quite a gang per se, but the biggest villain of the series to date, that being the Ultor Clothing Company.
Ultor FM. We don't cure cancer, but we sure come close.
And the Ultor segment of the game opens a very interesting way, with Dane Vogel talking to some of the investors about how everything that has happened so far is all a part of the Ultor master plan to use the gangs to get rid of each other and lower the property value in the process so they can buy it for the cheap, renovate it and sell it high. Now that the Saints have taken out all the other gangs, it's just them that Ultor need to remove of, and they go after them hard, sending a hit team after all the leadership of the Saints when they are apart. Luckily, the boss is able to fight off the team sent to take him out and go help Samedi and Pierce as well. And Johnny, well, Johnny Gat can handle himself.
This could be going better.
The boss then sends Samedi and Pierce to look into something called the Pyramid. One of the hitman who was sent to kill him had a key card for it on him.
I liked Ultor a lot more when they just made clothes.
What you do to piss these guys off?
Fuck if I know.
Yo, I signed on for killing gangbangers, not fighting some SWAT team from hell.
Don't worry about it, Pierce. We'll take care of it.
The fuck you mean don't worry about it? These guys are packing space age shit.
Hey, Samedi, you date anyone who worked at a place called the Pyramid?
No.
For real?
All right. You two find out whatever you can about this place. I want to take these assholes apart.
And after some research, it turns out the Pyramid is a hidden secret lab Ultor are using to develop a bunch of guns and weapons and other machines of war. So the boss sends Samedi and Pierce to attack public-facing Ultor businesses as Johnny and himself break into the Pyramid, blowing it sky high. Where we then get a cutscene of Vogel trying to reassure the board of directors of Ultor that this is a part of his plan, and it is better that they look like victims when it comes to the Pyramid, instead of it coming out in some hit piece on the news on Ultor. But the board wants the Saints gone. But it would seem that Vogel also wants the board gone, setting up a yacht party and informing the boss about it. And if you know the boss's history with yacht parties, this goes about the same way. But this time the boss doesn't get blown up. He is able to kill all of the Ultor board. Now Vogel holds a press conference to condemn the Saints for their action and announce him taking over control of the company, holding the press conference outside of the church which the Saints once called home.
You in position, Johnny?
Oh yeah.
Just make sure I get to Vogel.
As most of you know, the Ultor board of directors were assassinated the other night, and while we at Ultor would like to take the time to mourn their passing, sadly that's a luxury we don't have. The corporate office has named me chairman, and I wanted to personally let you all know, not only will business continue as usual, but we will be taking even greater strides forward. Monica Hughes has graciously greenlit a project that's very dear to us at Ultor, the revitalization of Shivington. In the coming days...
Mr. Vogel, come with us.
Surely a strong stance he is taking against the Saints, and the Saints are hearing it and not liking it very much. The Saints planning to take out Vogel during that speech. But the plan goes sideways as Vogel escapes into the Ultor tower, activating a force field's worth of defenses on the tower. The boss, of course, eventually finding a way around this, using an Ultor attack chopper to gain access to the building by blowing up key junction boxes on the outside of the tower. Coming face to face with Dane as he attempts to barter for his life. The boss having none of this.
Let's not be too hasty here. You're upset, you're frustrated, and you've got a gun, which, you know, I'd really like it if you would put that away.
You should have thought of that before you sent a team to wipe out my gang.
I tried telling the board that going after the Saints was a big mistake.
They should have listened to you.
Believe me, right now I am agreeing with you 100%, but you have to look at the positives. You're alive, they're dead, and you have the Saints' #1 fan running Ultor.
Sending Vogel falling through the window and down to the floor, with a bullet in his head for company on the way down. As Shondi and Pierce show up at the very end as the boss calls a friend from before, Toby, as they fly away, passing Johnny down on a bridge, having the time of his life killing cops.
We missed it?
Told ya. Now pay up.
Where the fuck were you guys?
Traffic.
What?
He's not joking. The roads have been blocked off.
You see Gad out there?
Oh, he's fine. He's still out there killing cops.
Figures.
What is it?
He's stunned. Time to pull out of there.
You sure? Get the fuck off of me! I mean, I'm not running out of ammo anytime soon.
I'm sure. See you back home.
Later.
Who you calling now?
Our ride.
Welcome aboard.
Because, well, what else would Johnny Gat want to do? So, what do the Saints do now? Well, whatever the fuck they like, as the Saints have taken over full control of the city with no shadowy figure trying to bring them down in the background. At least not that they are aware of at this point. But of course that marks the end of Saints Row 2. So, quick fire comments on the story time. One point that always stands with me when I play this game is that I believe this game has the boss at his absolute worst. Like, the boss during the Brotherhood section of the game is just, he does everything purely to be a dick. He's just the embodiment of evil. It's like right after Carlos is killed, and he has that sort of heartbreaking moment where he kills Carlos to release him from his pain. He then obviously strikes back at the Brotherhood, which you would expect a gangster to do. But it's just like stuff like as he confrontates Miro after Miro runs over Jessica, the thing he comments about is that he should have got more than 20%, not that he shouldn't have gone after the Saints. It's just his brutality during the Brotherhood section of the game has never been seen up until that point, really, and it was never seen before. Like, the Ronin killed Aisha and wounded Johnny, but I still feel they got off a lot better than the Brotherhood. Now, yes, of course, all the leaders of the gang were killed in the process of the game, but then the Brotherhood also had their acquaintances hurt. Like, Donnie was well manipulated, but much like he was in the first game, Donnie's just a sort of interesting character. But then there was Matt. He's a guitarist and a tattoo artist that the Brotherhood employ to give them tattoos. And the boss just mortally wounds him to the point, well, not mortally, but wounds him to the point where he can never be able to play guitar and most likely tattoo someone again. And it's like, what did Matt do? Really? If anything, I think I could see more of a defense for Miro killing Matt after tattooing his face with toxic waste. But that's just something that this game has always made me wonder, is why was he so... Because he's not like that with anyone else. It's not like that in Saints Row 3, but Saints Row 3 is a whole different chasm to cover later. But there is one more aspect to the story that I think is something that Saints Row 1 did a lot better than Saints Row 2. Now, of course, the Saints Row specialty is that you can play any gang story at any time. However, that does have a downside, which I feel they mitigated better in Saints Row 1 than Saints Row 2. So in Saints Row 1, a character is tragically killed during the story of a gang takedown, that being the takedown of the West Side Rollers when Lynn is killed. But Lynn is barely seen interacting with the Saints, which makes sense because she is undercover and she hangs out more with the Rollers during her process of being undercover. But in Saints Row 2, you have a main character adjacent who gets mortally wounded and sent to hospital, and one that gets killed, which means during the whole game, especially if you're like me and you played the Brotherhood last, Carlos, the man who breaks you out of prison and is seemingly your first choice for a lieutenant in the reforming of the 3rd Street Saints, and he isn't seen once in the Sons of Samedi or the Ronin story, which makes sense if you played the Brotherhood first and he was killed. But since there's no external factor to separate him from the other stories like there was with Lynn, it's just odd not seeing him at all. It's like the same thing happens with Johnny Gat. Now he shows up a little bit more, but because there's that large section of the Ronin story where he is in hospital, they have to sort of write around the fact that Johnny is not there. It's even because, like, in the Ronin story, Pierce makes comments like Johnny dying in hospital basically, but yet there's never that carryover, because there can't be that carryover because you're playing in separate times. Like, the game does not know when you are playing which story when. And it's just something that, once again, I feel that Saints Row 1 just did a little bit better. But of course, this game, they wanted more impactful moments, like the death of Aisha and Carlos. But in order to do that, they had to manipulate the story in ways that just make me think, why am I not reaching out to these other Saints members in separate stories? But hey, that's just my thoughts. But if you are listening to this part here, you've probably heard a lot of my thoughts. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. This has been a lot longer than I ever expected it to be. I thought this would maybe be the same length of my Saints Row 1 video, but it's already at the length of my Saints Row 1 video, and I still have this whole Ultor and then this closing segment to chop onto it. But either ways, if you are hearing my voice right now, I just want to say thank you very much. If you'd like to leave a like or subscribe, or leave a comment on how you feel on Saints Row 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 when I eventually get along to that game, it would be much appreciated. But anyways, I have been J104, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Peace.
Alright, everybody listen up. We got some serious shit to discuss. The Saints used to own Stillwater, and it seems like the only motherfuckers that remember that is me and Gat. I think it's time we give those other crews a wake-up call. Now, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of shit's changed since I went out of the game, so I'm gonna need some help. It's our time now. Let's get this shit started.